I never imagined that at 74 years old, after a lifetime of giving everything to my family, I'd be sitting alone in my cozy kitchen, staring at a wedding photo on my phone that shattered my world. It was a crisp autumn morning, the kind where the leaves outside my window in suburban Chicago rustled like whispers of forgotten promises. My hands trembled as I scrolled through John's social media. My only son, the boy I'd raised through thick and thin after his father passed away 20 years ago. There it was, him and Liana, beaming in white lace and tuxedo, surrounded by friends and her family. The caption read, "Our perfect day with the people who matter most." But I wasn't there. They had gotten married secretly, without even a whisper to me. The shock hit me like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. My heart pounded, my throat tightened, and tears blurred the screen. How could they? After all I'd done? At first, my heart swelled with joy. I'd been waiting for this, dreaming of walking him down the aisle, or at least being there to toast their future. But then the silence stretched and I asked, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have come." There was a pause and then Liana's voice cut in on speakerphone, sharp as a knife's edge. "Oh, Margaret, we only invited special people. You know, the ones who really matter in our lives." Her words hit me like a bucket of ice water dumped over my head. I felt my chest tighten, my hands tremble as I gripped the receiver. Special people? After everything I'd done? The room spun, and I sank into my armchair, the faded floral fabric suddenly feeling like thorns against my skin. Tears blurred my vision, hot and stinging, as the betrayal sank in. They had secretly married without me, excluding me like some forgotten acquaintance, while I'd poured my heart and my wallet into their lives. Looking back, I suppose I should have seen it coming. For 3 long years, ever since John lost his job in the tech downturn, and Liana decided she wanted to pursue her dreams as an influencer, I'd been their lifeline. It started small, or so it seemed. I'd cover their rent, $200 a month for that trendy apartment in the city, totaling $1,400 to $400 a year. Over 3 years, that alone added up to $40,200. But wait, no. I'd miscalculated in my initial shock. Let me think. 3 years is 36 months, so $200 times 36 is exactly $43,200. But that wasn't all. There were the furniture deliveries, a $12,500 sofa set because the old one was embarrassing for photos, a one-day $800 dining table for their dinner parties I was never invited to, and countless smaller items like lamps and rugs that pushed the total for furnishings to over $5,000. Food. Oh, I'd send grocery deliveries weekly, $150 a pop, easily $600 a month, which over 3 years came to $21,600. And the emergencies, John's car repair bill of $3,200 when he rear-ended someone while texting, Liana's medical spa treatments that she claimed were for her mental health at $800 a session, 3 times a year, adding another $7,200. Then the gifts, birthdays, holidays, just because, like the $1,000 laptop for John, or the $500 designer handbag for Liana. When I tallied it all up later, scribbling furiously on a notepad in the dim light of my kitchen, it exceeded $35,000. No, that was an understatement. It was closer to $80,000, drained from my widow's pension and the savings Robert and I had built for our golden years. I'd sacrificed so much. After Robert passed from cancer 5 years ago, I'd been alone, rattling around in this house filled with echoes of our life together. I'd skipped my own luxuries. No salon visits for my graying hair, no new clothes beyond thrift store finds. To ensure they had what they needed, I'd dip into my retirement fund, watching the balance dwindle from $150,000 to under $70,000, all while telling myself it was for family. But in those flashbacks, as I sat there after the call, the resentment built like a storm. I remembered the nights I'd eat canned soup alone, the holidays where they'd show up empty-handed but leave with bags of my homemade cookies and cash envelopes. I felt invisible, used, like a walking ATM, not a mother. The irony burned. I'd protected them from the world, only to realize I needed protection from my own family. How had I bought their affection with dollars, thinking it was love? That phone call was my breaking point. Exactly 7 days later, 7 agonizing days of ignored texts and voicemails from me seeking an explanation. John called again, his tone shifting from excitement to desperation. "Mom, the rent's due, and we're a bit short this month. Can you transfer the usual?" My heart raced, a mix of pain and budding anger fueling my words. I took a deep breath, staring at my reflection in the hallway mirror, my lined face, the weary eyes that had cried too many tears, and said, "No, John, I'm done. You only need special people in your life, remember? Well, consider this my resignation from being your bank." There was a stunned silence on the other end. Then Liana's voice, dripping with false sweetness. "Margaret, you don't mean that. We're family." But I echoed her words back. "Family? You only invite special people to your milestones. I'm not special enough for a wedding invite, but special enough for your bills. No more." I hung up, my hands shaking, but a strange release washed over me. Tears of anger streamed down my face, turning to ones of determination as I made myself a cup of strong black coffee, the steam rising like my resolve. That night, I logged into my bank app and canceled all automatic transfers, blocked their numbers temporarily, and sat in the quiet, hearing my own heartbeat for the first time in years. It was the start of reclaiming my life. I'd been a victim, but no longer. Of course, they didn't take it lying down. The escalation began almost immediately. First, the pleading calls from unknown numbers, John leaving voicemails. "Mom, please, we're going to be evicted. This isn't like you. You're our rock." Then Liana's texts, manipulative and guilt-tripping. "How can you do this to us after all we've been through? Robert would be ashamed." I ignored them at first, focusing on small steps, daily walks in the park near my home, where the rustling leaves reminded me of change. But then came the surprise visits. One evening, as I was sipping tea on my porch, their car pulled up unannounced. John stormed out, his face red. "Mom, open the door. We need to talk." Liana followed, her arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "You're being selfish, Margaret. We've always been there for you." I stood my ground behind the screen door, my voice steady. "Been there? Like at my husband's funeral, when you left early for a party. Or when I was sick last winter and you never checked in. Get off my property." They left, but not before Liana hissed. "This isn't over. You'll regret this." The threats intensified. A week later, a letter arrived from a lawyer, accusing me of financial irresponsibility and hinting at a petition to declare me mentally incompetent. "Due to recent erratic behavior," it read, "we believe guardianship is necessary to protect your assets." My blood boiled. Erratic? For stopping the money flow? That's when supportive souls entered my life like beacons in the storm. My neighbor, Kamala, a kind-hearted woman in her 50s, who'd lost her own parents to similar abuse, noticed my distress during one of our fence chats. "Margaret, you don't have to face this alone," she said, her warm brown eyes full of empathy. She introduced me to her friend, Mr. Mark Lanier, a sharp attorney specializing in elder law. Over coffee at a local diner, the aroma of fresh pies mingling with our serious talk. Mark reviewed the letter. "This is classic financial abuse," he said firmly. "We'll fight it." Kamala and a few other friends from my book club rallied too, bringing casseroles and encouragement, contrasting sharply with John's greed. But the manipulation peaked when social workers showed up, tipped off anonymously, likely by Liana, questioning my mental state. "Mrs. Angel, have you been forgetting things?" one asked gently. I showed them my organized bills and journals, proving my sharpness. But the invasion left me rattled, pacing my living room in the dead of night. The silence so deep, I could hear my heart pounding with fury. The climax came in the courtroom, a stuffy chamber in downtown Chicago, where the fluorescent lights buzzed like angry bees. John and Liana had filed a full lawsuit, seeking to declare me incompetent and gain control of my finances, my house, my savings, everything. The risks were terrifying. If they won, I'd lose my independence, become a ward under their care. Mark prepared me meticulously, gathering bank statements, receipts, and witness testimonies. The trial dragged on for 2 tense days. Their lawyer painted me as a confused old woman, presenting fabricated emails, supposedly from me, rambling incoherently. "See? She's not fit," he argued. But Mark cross-examined fiercely. "These emails are dated after Mrs. Angel blocked their numbers. How could she send them?" Witnesses took the stand. Kamala testified to my vitality, sharing stories of our walks and lucid conversations. A doctor I'd seen recently confirmed my mental acuity with test results. Then it was my turn. I stood tall, my voice unwavering despite the knot in my stomach. "Your Honor," I said, locking eyes with John and Liana across the room. "I've supported them with over $80,000, rent at $1,200 monthly for 36 months, $5,000 in furniture, $21,600 in groceries, and more. But when they married secretly and called me not special, I realized I'd been buying love that wasn't real. This lawsuit, it's greed, not concern." The judge's gavel fell like a thunderbolt. Case dismissed. I was competent, free. Victory tasted sweet, like the first sip of freedom. I cut ties permanently. No more calls, no forwarded mail. I sold my house for a tidy $250,000, more than enough to fund my new chapter. I moved to a sunny condo in Florida, where the ocean waves whispered peace. My days now? Morning yoga on the beach, painting classes with new friends, travels to places Robert and I dreamed of, like a cruise to the Bahamas, where the turquoise waters mirrored my renewed spirit. I even donated $5,000 to an elder abuse charity, turning my pain into purpose. Kamala visits often, and Mark checks in like a son I never had. Looking back, I learned that true love has no price tag. It's given freely, not extracted. Freedom, though, that's priceless. Blood doesn't obligate you to bleed dry. I'm Margaret Angel, 74 years young, and I've triumphed over betrayal, emerging stronger, wiser, and unapologetically me. If my story resonates, consider donating to support more tales like this. Every bit helps spread empowerment. What would you do in my shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments. Where did you hear about this story? I'd love to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring narratives. With heartfelt greetings. Until next time, have a nice day.